Hello everyone, and welcome to Earth Archives. Today we're going to talk about a psychological phenomenon you might not dare to face, but one that everyone may have felt: loneliness. Have you ever felt this way, surrounded by people, laughing, yet inside, feeling like no one truly sees you? If you've ever felt that, today's discussion will resonate with you. Remember to subscribe, hit like, and share this with someone who might need it, because the loneliness we're talking about today is deeper and more hidden than you think.
Exactly. Loneliness isn't as simple as being alone. It can hide behind your laughter, behind the mask of appearing happy, even in the casual line, "I've just been a bit busy lately." This kind of loneliness is quiet and invisible, but like a gray shadow, it lingers. You might not notice it, but it slowly changes how you perceive yourself and even how you see the world.
Then why do some people, even with friends, still feel this loneliness?
That's the subtle part. People who are socially quiet or seem to have few friends aren't cold or unwilling to connect. They're often too sensitive, too attentive. They notice the slightest changes in tone, the smiles that don't reach the eyes. When they perceive too many of these details, they start to withdraw, because for them, connection can sometimes feel frightening.
So is there a psychological explanation for this kind of loneliness?
Yes. Psychological studies show that prolonged loneliness changes the brain's functioning. The brain interprets extended social absence as a threat and can even activate areas linked to physical pain. So loneliness isn't just emotional, it can feel physical too. Heart rate changes, disrupted sleep, racing thoughts scanning for non-existent threats. Our brains evolved for group survival. Isolation historically meant danger, sometimes even life or death.
But now we can be surrounded by thousands of people online. Why do we still feel lonely?
Because being noticed isn't the same as being understood. Likes don't mean someone truly sees you. There's a huge gap between being recognized and being understood, and lonely people are painfully aware of it. They don't suddenly decide, "I don't need anyone." Rather, small disappointments accumulate. Your genuine sharing ignored, your secrets misused, your openness misunderstood. The brain learns a lesson. The safest approach is to stop trying.
So they start telling themselves, "I like being alone."
Yes, but that's just the surface. At first, loneliness brings calm, making them feel in control. Keeping distance feels safe. Over time, this calm slowly turns into a shadow. Even the most independent people long to be seen, understood, and felt by another heart. When connection is absent for too long, they replay old memories, old disappointments, old betrayals, asking themselves, "Where did it go wrong?" Psychologists call this learned social helplessness. After repeated failed attempts at connection, the brain unconsciously gives up, linking closeness with rejection.
Does that make them emotionally numb?
Yes, but not because they don't care. It's because they've had few opportunities to practice emotional interaction. Empathy is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. The paradox is, they crave deep connection more than anyone. They search for meaning in every smile, every gaze, because when something is scarce, it becomes especially precious.
So loneliness isn't just suffering, it can also be a kind of strength?
Exactly. Many great artists, writers, and thinkers in history experienced prolonged loneliness. Chosen solitude allows you to reconnect with yourself. Imposed loneliness can make you doubt whether you're worthy of love. The starting point of healing is simple. Stop pretending to be perfect and allow yourself to be seen. Lonely people often have the deepest observational skills. They can tell who's genuine and who's merely performing kindness. When they heal themselves, they attract people who are real too.
So even if you don't have friends right now, it doesn't mean you're incomplete?
Exactly. Loneliness just makes your story quieter. But a quiet story can still be full of art and depth. Every quiet night, every unnoticed pain, shapes you into someone capable of truly embracing connection. One day, you'll meet another person who has been lonely, and in each other's eyes, you'll recognize a familiar feeling. This is the most beautiful transformation of loneliness.
That sounds comforting, but how does someone start to come out of loneliness?
It's simple, but also difficult. The simple part is allowing yourself to be real. Stop pretending to be perfect. The difficult part is giving yourself time and a sense of safety, slowly practicing connection. Like muscles, trust needs to be rebuilt gradually. When you see someone smile or respond to you, don't overanalyze. Just allow yourself to feel that kindness. These small moments are the starting point for rebuilding connection.
So loneliness isn't a punishment, but a kind of preparation?
Yes. Loneliness teaches you how to be with yourself and recognize your own value. It forces you to build an inner world, so that when true friends appear, you can greet them with calm rather than fear. People who experience loneliness often develop the deepest awareness. They think, reflect, and process. This depth becomes the magnet that later attracts genuine souls.
If loneliness has become part of life and the days feel all the same, does it affect how we perceive time?
Yes. Psychologists have found that loneliness can make time feel slower, stretching out the days. Weekends, holidays, even ordinary moments lose their meaning if there's no one to share them with. You feel like you live inside your thoughts rather than in the flow of life. That's why lonely people often feel days are heavy and long. But at the same time, these elongated periods give them a chance to observe themselves and reflect on life in detail.
So loneliness makes people more sensitive and more easily moved by small details?
Exactly. They become hyper-aware of social cues. Even an unintentional silence or a message that goes unanswered can be interpreted as indifference or rejection. It's not being irrational. It's the brain's defense mechanism developed through prolonged loneliness. You've been ignored so many times that your brain starts scanning constantly for possible rejection, even when none exists. Over time, this forms a self-fulfilling cycle. You act cautiously, others sense the distance and step back, which reinforces the very loneliness you fear.
Wow, so loneliness isn't just emotional, it gradually shapes our behavior patterns.
Absolutely. It's not just an emotion. It seeps into your cognition, habits, and even bodily reactions. People in long-term isolation may become emotionally numb, not because they don't want to feel, but because the brain is protecting itself from repeated pain caused by lack of connection. The paradox is they crave genuine connection more than anyone.
Then how can they rebuild that connection? It seems really difficult.
Interestingly, healing loneliness can start with small things. For example, when you see a kind smile, allow yourself to feel it. When someone asks, "Are you okay?" allow yourself to answer, "I'm fine, thank you for asking." These seemingly trivial moments are the building blocks of trust. Every time you allow yourself to be seen, you're telling your brain, safety is possible.
So loneliness can also become a kind of strength?
Yes, and it can even be a deep kind of strength. Throughout history, many great thinkers, creators, and artists have experienced long periods of loneliness. Those who choose solitude may be encountering themselves. Those forced into loneliness may be grappling with hurt and misunderstanding. But no matter the type, when you learn to face yourself, it grants you sharper observation, deeper understanding, and richer emotional depth, qualities that act as a magnet for truly connecting with other souls.
So should we tell ourselves that loneliness isn't a punishment, but a kind of preparation?
Absolutely. Loneliness gives you the opportunity to build your inner world, so that when true friends appear, you can greet them with calm instead of fear. People who experience loneliness are often the most perceptive. They can discern who is sincere and who is merely offering superficial kindness. When they learn to heal themselves, they attract real people, not fake companionship.
But many people feel that not having friends is their own fault. What do you think?
That's completely a misunderstanding. Loneliness doesn't mean you are bad or unworthy of love. It reflects a long-term lack of a safe, connected environment. People who were misunderstood or neglected from a young age learn to hide themselves and lower their expectations. This isn't wrong, it's self-protection. Being different isn't the problem. The problem is giving being different a negative meaning. You need to understand that lonely people aren't broken. They're just still learning to trust themselves and to trust the world again.
Then how do they start trusting themselves?
The most crucial step is allowing yourself to exist authentically, without pretending to be perfect. You can start by being kind to yourself. Speak to yourself as a caring friend would. When you feel no one cares about me, gently tell yourself, "That's not true. I'm learning to care for myself." When your inner loneliness whispers, "I will always be alone," respond, "I am still willing to be found." The brain really listens. It gradually rewires its neural pathways. Loneliness isn't forever. As long as you allow yourself to live, the spring of the mind will arrive.
Wow, so loneliness can become a teacher for self-growth?
Exactly. It forces you to build a strong inner world, so that when real friends appear, you won't shrink back out of fear or insecurity. People who experience loneliness have the deepest awareness. They think, reflect, and process. That depth is precisely what attracts genuine souls. Long-term loneliness isn't a flaw, it's preparation, preparing you to encounter true resonance.
And if I truly have no one around me right now, what should I do?
First, understand that you are still worthy of being seen and understood. Loneliness isn't a punishment, it's a waiting period. You can walk your path gently, speak gently, and live gently. Slowly, you will meet another person who has been lonely, and in each other's eyes, you'll recognize a familiar feeling. In that moment, you will smile, they will smile, and two lonely worlds will reconnect to form a bridge.
So if loneliness gradually teaches us to build defenses and protect ourselves, but our hearts still crave being seen, how do we balance this contradiction?
That's a great question, because loneliness at its core is a contradictory psychological structure. On one hand, you long for connection. On the other, you fear being hurt. Healing isn't about forcing yourself to socialize, nor is it about pretending you're not lonely. It's about creating a safe haven within yourself and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. When you can gently tell yourself, "It's okay, I feel lonely, and I can still be seen," you begin to open the door to genuine connection.
It feels like learning to trust yourself again?
Exactly. The biggest challenge for lonely people isn't the lack of friends. It's losing the ability to believe they are worthy of connection. Every time you allow yourself to be seen, every time you express your needs honestly, you are rebuilding inner trust. Like muscles that need training to regain strength, trust can also be cultivated gradually.
So during this process, how should we approach interactions with others?
Take it slowly. Don't rush to find perfect social interactions. Start with small connections. Smile at a colleague. Send a message to check on a friend, or share your genuine feelings on social media. The key isn't quantity, it's quality. True friendship isn't measured by how many people you know, but by those who can understand, feel, and accompany you without needing many words.
So loneliness can act as a sort of filter?
Absolutely. Loneliness teaches you to distinguish what's genuine from what's superficial. It prevents you from being misled by surface-level busyness and helps you cherish those who truly understand you. The longer you experience loneliness, the better you can recognize your soul companions.
In that case, should we redefine what loneliness means?
Yes, we often view loneliness as a negative emotion, but it can also be a teacher. It forces you to build an inner world, giving you the capacity to greet true friends with calm rather than fear. Lonely people often have the deepest awareness. They notice details others miss and understand others' loneliness. This is an extraordinary form of empathy.
Are there practical ways to break the cycle of loneliness?
Yes, several small strategies are very effective. First, allow yourself to express emotions. even if it's through journaling or writing letters to yourself. Second, practice speaking to yourself kindly, using a friend's tone. Third, gradually try small social interactions. Don't aim for perfection, just authenticity. Fourth, learn to enjoy solitude, seeing it as an opportunity to explore yourself and discover passions. Most importantly, allow yourself to take things step by step. Don't rush to achieve social perfection.
It feels like a healing process from the inside out.
Exactly. Healing loneliness doesn't come from the outside. It comes from learning to give it to yourself first. When you regain your sense of value and trust, you naturally attract people who truly understand you, instead of relying on external approval to fill the void. Loneliness is like a psychological winter, but spring really does come, as long as you allow yourself to keep living.
But how do we know that we'll eventually meet someone who truly gets us?
One day, you'll meet another person who has been lonely, and in each other's eyes, you'll recognize a familiar feeling. You smile, they smile, and two lonely worlds form a bridge. In that moment, you'll understand that loneliness isn't the end. It's a preparation. Every neglected night, every unanswered message, every unnoticed pain is shaping the person capable of truly embracing connection.
This is really touching. I hope everyone remembers this warmth.
Exactly. So dear friends, if you liked today's sharing, don't forget to subscribe, give a like, and share it with those around you who might need it. Let more people know they are not alone. Because loneliness isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning of your journey of the soul.